Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing part 4, the final part of the second Doctor classic, The Underwater Menace. Maybe classic is a bit of a stretch. But we are reviewing Underwater Menace part 4. Let's try that again. Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing part 4, the final part of The Underwater Menace with the second Doctor. Now, The Underwater Menace, of course, the actual episode is missing. I was watching the black and white version of the animation for this final part, and I enjoyed it. It only took me about a minute and a half to really adjust back to animation, because I've been watching these with the animation and surviving episodes, so the animated version of part 1, the surviving 2 and 3, and the animated part 4. It was actually easier going back and forth between live action and animation than I thought it was going to be, because the animation does take some liberties, but none of them felt overly jarring like some of the animations do, like Abominable Snowman and Galaxy 4 feel very jarring. This one really didn't. It only took me, like I said, a minute, maybe two, to acclimate back to the fact that I was watching animation. Part of that is due to the fact the animation is very good. I talked about that in my part 1 review. I really like the animation. For the most part, actors' faces move really well, especially Troughton. I love the expressions Troughton's face does. Looks really good. Body movement's really nice. The movement of the characters is very fluid in this animation, more so than most of the animations. I don't think it has had that kind of fluidity to it since the Macroterra, actually. I've always praised Macroterra by how realistically the characters move. They move very much like that in this one. Maybe not quite to that degree, but close to it. It's definitely an improvement, even over Evil, in my opinion. I was really impressed that the animation movements of characters looked very natural to me, which is a big deal for me in these animations, so I really enjoyed that. Zaroff to me still doesn't quite look right. I mean, it's very obviously Zaroff. I can tell. But something about him just looks slightly off. The actor who's playing him in the surviving footage just did such a good job with taking him over the top in a good way. The animation doesn't quite get that. Although I do love the scene when he's yelling at one of his employees and he's like, because we've all been there. We've all had that where you're trying to explain something to someone, you're just... That I get. I don't like his death scene at the end. I prefer the surviving footage, because I've seen the surviving clip of him drowning, because that does survive, because it was censored in Australia. And I like that better than in the episode. I kept expecting to get another clip of him, because you just see the octopus fly by, and he's doing that again, which doesn't fit the fact he's drowning. Like, well, I'm drowning, blah, blah. It doesn't fit. I kept expecting them to cut back to him one more time to see him kind of, but no, and he drowned. The animation fails right there with Zaroff's death very badly, the way they did that. Also, the whole bit with the octopus, I don't think that's in the original version, so it's just kind of dumb, honestly. Kind of dumb. Odd choice, because I don't think that was in the original version. But the one likeness I don't like on the main cast is Polly. I talked about this in part 1. Polly looks weird. Polly looks really weird. Like, I don't know what's up with her face. Like, she had some botched plastic surgery. It does not look like Annika Wilkes at all. It just looks like generic blonde person that had botched plastic surgery. Just for some reason, Polly's face is weird. Now, Ben, Jamie, and the Doctor all look good to me. I like their models. And Jamie and the Doctor's looks carried over from Evil, which I also liked. So they're really good. I don't like some of the character changes they made from the live action to the animation, like the ruler of Atlantis. I don't know why they changed him so drastically. There was no reason for that. It took me a while to realize that was the ruler that they were still carrying. I thought it was one of the guards. I didn't realize that was still the ruler, because they completely changed up how he looked, and there's no reason for it. Same thing with Damon. His animation model just looks goofy. He went from having really thick eyebrows to having no eyebrows. Why do you do that? Why do you do that? Damon, to me, is an interesting character when you're watching the surviving footage. The actor playing him is doing a lot with what he's got, whereas in the animation, he just looks very bland and uninteresting. Maybe it's because Damon has more to do in episodes 2 and 3, especially episode 2, whereas he's not in 1 and 4 much. But I don't know why they changed that character model. It's very boring. The sets look good in the animated version. Again, they changed things up a little bit, but not enough to bother me. My willing suspension of disbelief never struggled with this, especially going from animation to live action back to animation and the whole story. My willing suspension of disbelief was, hey man, fall back into my arms. I got you. You're good. Which I like. I like that. I like the fact I can watch the half of the story that still exists without it being jarring or weird. So that's a good job to the animation team there, despite the things they changed. Other than me taking a minute to realize that the King of Atlantis was still the King of Atlantis because they drew him so differently. Other than that, it holds up really well. Story standpoint, I think it's a good ending. Everything's getting frantic at the end. Polly's a little too, oh, I can't do it, which doesn't really seem like Polly to me, to be honest. That's a script problem, not an animation problem. I just feel like Polly to me strikes me as a stronger character than that, so that feels a little out of character for her. And Jamie having to, don't worry, I'll help you through it. That felt a little unnecessary. But Jamie, that's exactly how Jamie would react being an old person. Don't worry, you wee lass, I got you, let's go. I can actually see, of course, Jamie, that feels very in character for Jamie, just not for Polly. The confrontation between the Doctor and Seraph at the end is okay. A little anticlimactic, but it's okay. I did like how Ben trapped him away from the door where he couldn't reach the lever. That was pretty cool. Overall, I really enjoyed the story. Part 4 ends well. I love the little bit at the end with them in the TARDIS. You can't steer it, can you? Of course I can. We'll go to Mars, and then we're out of control. I like the Doctor didn't want to admit he couldn't steer it. Of course I can steer it why I want. I just never wanted to, that's all. There's actually a little spot where he turns his head when he says that. I can steer it if I want. I just never wanted to. That all where he turns like this. The shot of him right there when he turns like this just for a second reminds me kind of the animation from The Invasion a little. The way his eyebrows are maybe. So it's a nice little thing there for me I enjoyed. And then we're out of control. That's a cool cliffhanger to roll into the moon base, which is interesting because if you start the moon base right after this, it's also animated, even if it's a very different animation style. So you're going from an animated episode to another animated episode. It's pretty neat that you can watch these back to back like that now. I enjoy the Underwater Menace, actually. Again, it's not essential Doctor Who, other than the fact it is, the first 2 surviving Troughton episodes. That I think is important. It's not a classic by any means, but I think if you know what it is going in, which I did, I know Underwater Menace's reputation going in, even though this is my first time watching it. I think it's fun. I enjoyed it, actually. I had fun with it. I didn't take it seriously. It doesn't take itself seriously at times. It kind of is playful and fun. Again, kind of like Horns of Nimon. You can have a good time and enjoy it for what it is. Just one small question. Why do you want to blow up the world? I love Troughton, man. I love Troughton. Troughton is just so good. So I find the Underwater Menace really fun. It's a nice little 60th anniversary treat for me because I am recording this actually the same day the Star Beast releases on November 25th. So it's nice that I'm not only for that getting to watch a new Doctor Who episode shortly, but I got to watch, the final 2 episodes of a classic Doctor Who I've never seen, which means there's only 6 Doctor Who episodes I've never seen now. And that's a nice little treat for me. So I enjoyed the Underwater Menace. I thought the black and white animation was good. I thought it married pretty well with the surviving footage considering. And the surviving episodes I thought were great, especially episode 2. So it definitely gets a pass from me. I enjoyed it. Or not a pass, as in a passing grade from me. It gets a passing grade from me. I enjoyed it. So I want to know what you think of the Underwater Menace and what you think of the new animation for it. Comment down below and let me know. Other things to do, there's all sorts of fun stuff down in the descriptions, links to the Patreon, links to the Amazon wish list, P.O. box addresses down there if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support. As I do the support of all of my patrons, it does make a difference and it is much appreciated. YouTube memberships are also available, most importantly. Thank you for watching.